Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. So in this video I want to talk a little bit about good ways of removing excess nutrients from the tank in a kind of a natural way, not using any chemicals or not by doing major water changes. So one good way to get rid of excess nutrients is to use a plant like this. This is called a Pothos plant. And the way this works is you basically either you cut some of these plants and then basically hang them into the back of the aquarium and wait for roots to grow, and the roots will basically provide shelter for the fish, but more importantly suck out all the nutrients. Or you can just remove all the dirt, leave the roots intact, and basically just stick huge pieces of plant into the aquarium without cutting anything. What I know from research is if you do decide to cut the plants into multiple pieces, make sure that you cut it. I'll try and see if I can zoom in here. If you see this little nibble here, try to cut past that, so right here, because this is where then the roots will grow. So if you basically were to cut right here, it will die, nothing will grow. So it has to be cut past this little nibble right here. Hopefully you can see that right here. Okay, and this is also a good way if you don't really like the way the roots look in the aquarium. If you have a 3D background like I do, you can basically stick this plant back here so that the roots will grow behind the background. So the front, or basically the interior of the tank, will look clean, remain a clean look, but you will still get all the benefits of removing all the nutrients. If you don't mind the look of the plants, of the roots in your aquarium, you can also stick it through these holes here. I covered it with some filter media so that my loaches don't jump out, or any other fish that like to jump out of the water. Or you can just stick it here into the overflow box. So you just have to make sure that the roots, as they grow longer and longer, that they don't clog up things and cause flooding. But other than that, I hope that all these all this algae that you see here will basically be disappearing, because this Pothos plant will start competing with the algae for nutrients and hopefully take over. So yeah, another thing you have to remember is this works so well actually that even your normal plants could possibly have problems with enough nutrients. So you have to kind of find a balance. If you see that your actual plant's starting to suffer, then you may need to cut some of it back. But other than that, I think this is a really good way to go about this. I will also be putting this in this tank. And if you have a filter compartment like this on the Fluval Megaplex, this is what this tank is called. It's basically the same tank as the regular Flex. This is the 15-gallon versions. The Megaflex is basically another one next to each other, so twice the size of this one. And for this kind of aquarium, you can basically stick it right here in the back, and or here, and it will basically maintain a clean look. So that's, for some people, that's important. If you have a BioCube, like I have here for my shrimp tank, I can also stick it here in the back. So there are multiple ways of using this, and it's really effective. So I will be probably going the route of basically just removing all the dirt and leaving, using the roots that are already there and not cutting anything up, because I have 3 of them. Each of them was only $10. And this will give me plenty, and this should work the fastest. So I'm going to give you an update later on to see how good or how bad this worked out, and hopefully it worked out well. Okay guys, so I just finished separating all the plants and washing them in water, and now we're going to select the best ones for the aquarium. I'm also thinking about putting some of them into the pond. So I have some pots right here and have a little shallow area in here. So the water is pretty clear. I can see all the way to the bottom, see all the fish. But I think it cannot hurt. So I will add some of it in the pond too. But yeah, so it was really relatively painless. And it's great to start with, a really nice root structure instead of, little pieces like this that have to grow, into bigger plants. So, yep, that's what we're gonna do, and hopefully it will be a success. All right, so quick update. I basically finished installing quote unquote the Pothos plants. For the overflow box, I decided to wrap these in this black mesh, and that is because I don't want the roots to cover up the holes of the intake and basically clog it up and cause a flooding. So basically, all I've done besides that is stick the pothos through all these holes and also on the back and of course in the intake. And some of them you can see them in the back, not very well because they're so short. But basically, this will be enough to get the pothos to suck out any excess nutrients and hopefully help with the algae grow and make this tank look a lot nicer.